Auburn, Indiana. Auburn is a city in DeKalb County, Indiana, United States. The population was 13,086 at the 2010 census. Founded in 1836 by Wesley Park, the city is the county seat of DeKalb County. Auburn is also known as home of the classics. Auburn is located at 41 degrees 2156 and 85 degrees 0323 W, 41.365505 degrees north, 85.056355 degrees west, 41.365505, minus 85.056355 20 miles north of Fort Wayne in northern Indiana. Interstate 69 passes just west of the city. According to the 2010 census, the city has a total area of 7.10 square miles, all land. Most of Auburn is located in Union Civil Township. Portions of Jackson, Kaiser and Grant Civil Townships are also within the city limits. Auburn has typical continental weather with very warm summers and very cold winters. Average January temperatures are a high of 31.4 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 17.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Average July temperatures are a high of 83.9 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 62.0 degrees Fahrenheit. There are an average of 13.1 days with highs of 90 degrees Fahrenheit or higher and an average of 136.8 days with lows of 32 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. The record high temperature was 106 degrees Fahrenheit on June 26, 1988. The record low temperature was minus 24 degrees Fahrenheit on January 21, 1984. Average annual precipitation in Auburn is 35.47 inches. The wettest month is normally June, with an average of 4.17 inches. The wettest year was 1985 with 43.50 inches and the driest year was 1964 with 19.93 inches. The most precipitation in one month was 9.65 inches in June 1981. The most precipitation in 24 hours was 3.85 inches on August 20, 1904. There is an average of 32.4 inches of snow each year. The snowiest season was 1981-82 with 67.5 inches, including 30.0 inches in January 1982. The most snowfall in 24 hours was 14.0 inches on January 26, 1978. Auburn's site on Cedar Creek was chosen by Wesley Park and John Bedlam Howe at the intersection of two major trails, Goshen Defiance Road and Coldwater Road, and next to the land of John Holton. The name for the community likely came from the deserted village by Oliver Goldsmith, that begins Sweet Auburn. Loveliest village of the plain. The plat of the village of Auburn is dated April 21, 1836, but it was held by Howe and not recorded until March 12, 1879. John Drury purchased the first lot for $25 on September 5, 1837. The first store was built at Parks Corners by Thomas Freeman, applying for a license on March 5, 1838. And bringing supplies by horseback from Fort Wayne. Daniel Altenburg, Levi Walsworth, the Sherlock family, Samuel Sprott, David Weave, David Shoemaker, Henry Curtis, Lyman Childsey, James Cosper, and David Cosper were early residents. A post office was established in 1839. In 1841, malaria ran through the town, and in 1843 a terrible storm wreaked havoc on cabins and crops. The Church of God was built by the Presbyterians in 1846. The village of Auburn was incorporated in 1849, divided into wards, and governed under a town board and constable. By the end of the American Civil War, the town included over 700 inhabitants. The storm of September 29, 1872, destroyed Oddfellows Hall and damaged the Methodist Episcopal Church. A few months later, the new brick block of 7th Street collapsed, also destroying the Ensley Building. Auburn Water and Lights was constructed in 1898. The change in status to the city of Auburn on March 26, 1900 followed a referendum. Notable citizen Charles Eckhart erected a public library and a YMCA building. The Auburn Automobile Company, founded in 1900, produced its first automobile in 1903. William Wrigley Jr. and Errett Lobb Cord controlled interests in the company that eventually acquired Duesenberg, Lexington, and Lycoming engines, and started Cord Car Company. The company failed in August 1937. Other makes of cars built in Auburn include Black, DeSoto, IMP, Kiplinger, McIntyre and Zimmerman. The Auburn Rubber Company was started in 1913 as the Double Fabric Tire Company, making tires for Auburn Automobile Company. In the 1920s as Auburn Rubber, it became a large manufacturer of rubber toys, leaving Auburn in 1959. Notorious bank robber John Dillinger and some accomplices raided Auburn's police station on October 14, 1933, stealing a submachine gun, 2 steel vests, 3 rifles, 6 pistols and over 1,000 rounds of ammunition. The acts that led to the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Stump v. Sparkman, 435 U.S. 349, the leading American case on judicial immunity, took place in Auburn in 1971. On June 28, 1988, 4 workers were asphyxiated at a local metal plating plant in the worst confined space industrial accident in U.S. history. A 5th victim died 2 days later. The Auburn Community Mausoleum, Auburn Courtiers and Automobile Museum, Downtown Auburn Historic District, and Eckhart Public Library and Park are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. As of the 2010 census, there were 12,731 people, 5,226 households, and 3,322 families residing in the city. The population density was 1,793.1 inhabitants per square mile. There were 5,692 housing units at an average density of 801.7 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 96.9% white, 0.4% African American, 0.2% Native American, 0.7% Asian, 0.7% from other races, and 1.0% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 2.6% of the population. There were 5,226 households of which 32.5% had children under the age of 18 living with him, 46.0% were married couples living together, 12.3% had a female householder with no husband present, 5.2% had a male householder with no wife present, and 36.4% were non-families. 31.2% of all households were made up of individuals and 13.9% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.38 and the average family size was 2.96. The median age in the city was 37.9 years. 25.3% of residents were under the age of 18, 8.1% were between the ages of 18 and 24, 25.9% were from 25 to 44, 25.1% were from 45 to 64, and 15.6% were 65 years of age or older. The gender makeup of the city was 48.1% male and 51.9% female. As of the 2000 census, there were 12,074 people, 4,927 households, and 3,202 families residing in the city. The population density was 1,816.2 people per square mile. There were 5,258 housing units at an average density of 790.9 per square mile. The racial makeup of the city was 97.71% white, 0.35% African American, 0.10% Native American, 0.41% Asian, 0.02% Pacific Islander, 0.61% from other races, and 0.80% from 2 or more races. Hispanic or Latino of any race were 1.75% of the population. There were 4,927 households out of which 33.4% had children under the age of 18 living with him, 51.2% were married couples living together, 10.1% had a female householder with no husband present, and 35.0% were non-families. 30.1% of all households were made up of individuals and 12.2% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.41 and the average family size was 2.99. In the city the population was spread out with 26.4% under the age of 18, 9.2% from 18 to 24, 30.7% from 25 to 44, 19.9% from 45 to 64, and 13.7% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 34 years. For every 100 females, there were 92.5 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 89.0 males. The median income for a household in the city was $42,762, and the median income for a family was $52,687. Males had a median income of $38,007 versus $24,414 for females. The per capita income for the city was $20,945. About 2.9% of families and 5.2% of the population were below the poverty line, including 3.4% of those under age 18 and 7.5% of those age 65 or over. Auburn is governed by an elected mayor and 7-member common council and a 3-member board of public works and safety consisting of the mayor and 2 others appointed by the mayor. 5 members of the common council are elected from individual districts and 2 are elected at large. A list of persons who have served as mayor appears in the table below. 106.7 WFGA, Classic Country. The DeKalb County Free Fall Fair is held in downtown Auburn. It starts at the end of September and has over 850,000 guests a year. Most of Auburn lies in the DeKalb County Central United School District. Public schools serving Auburn are. There is also a K-12 private school. The town has a free lending library, the Eckhart Public Library. Auburn is the location of the Auburn Court-Duesenberg Festival, held each Labor Day weekend, and of the Auburn Court-Duesenberg Automobile Museum and the National Automotive and Truck Museum of the United States. Both are National Historic Landmarks. The Auburn Court-Duesenberg Festival, with the annual Labor Day auction, is said to host one of the world's largest automotive auction. These automotive-related events are the legacy of the Auburn Automobile Company, which closed in the late 1930s. The company had its headquarters in a factory in Auburn. Other museums located near Auburn include the Hoosier Air Museum, the Cruise Automotive and Carriage Museum, which includes the International Monster Truck Hall of Fame, and the World War II Victory Museum. Auburn also hosts the annual DeKalb County Free Fall Fair, a 6-day event usually held in the last week of September. Auburn was also home to early automobile company DeSoto in 1913. This company has no connection with the DeSoto that was manufactured by Chrysler. The official city logo, pictured at right, is based on the logo of the former Auburn Automobile Company. The company went out of business in the 1930s. The municipality began using the logo in the 1980s. The city's official nickname is Home of the Classics, a reference to the classic automobiles once manufactured there. U.S. Post Office, completed in 1934. DeKalb County Courthouse. Eckhart Public Library, 1996 edition. Old Vandalia Railroad Bridge over Cedar Creek in Auburn. Childhood home of author Will Cuppy. Author Will Cuppy's gravestone, Evergreen Cemetery. A storefront church in Auburn. Auburn Automobile Company Historical Marker. Auburn Automobile Company Historical Marker.